Wait a minute. Okay? Wait a minute.
Shalom to the congregation of Israel. Pardon for the quality of the video. I have to film this on myself because, as you can see, the church has been raided by the FBI.
Why hasn't the FBI done their job?
This is a fight, like David fought Goliath. Okay.
Wow.
This is what it's supposed to be. Don't be alarmed.
Why hasn't the FBI done their job?
Don't be afraid. Steady as she goes.
This is as usual.
And steady as she goes.
We know that Tazadaqyah was talking like crazy on the radio show. That 3.5-hour Block Talk radio show that Tazadaqyah held was in, I believe it was October of 2015. Arrogant as always. No more than a year later, about a year later from then, on November 1st of 2016, was the raid of 1941 Madison Avenue, the headquarters of the ICGJC, wherein the IRS and the FBI got a search warrant in order to search the premises, gather the information, any books, all the books had to be opened. Computers, anything that might have information that might incriminate Tazadaqyah. And that's how an investigation gets started. They had reason to believe that there was crimes being committed, federal crimes. It was less than 2 years. We heard nothing. It wasn't until April 25th, 2018 that Jermaine Grant and Lincoln Warrington were finally arrested for tax evasion, tax fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Tazadaqyah finally gets arrested. He pled not guilty. You can plead not guilty and then retain a lawyer, which is what Tazadaqyah did with the money coming from the congregation. He actually demanded members of the ICGJC to pay up $1,000 each, and then some, because there were brothers that you could find and you could see on the Injustice League's videos that actually left on the strength of being hassled after giving $1,000. After giving money, they were hassled for more money. It's all about the money. That's where the urgency always seems to be at. There's never any urgency for anything else except for when money needs to come in and they need to get it from you. It's urgent. And this is what happened at that time in 2018. They were able to retain Gerald Lefcourt as their lawyer. It takes some time for the lawyer to be granted discovery. And what that means is that Tazadaqyah's lawyer was able to look at all the evidence that the FBI and the IRS gathered against Tazadaqyah. So it was almost a year later from the time that he pled not guilty that Tazadaqyah and Lincoln Warrington changed their plea to guilty because the lawyer thought this would be the best course of action due to the information that the IRS and the FBI had against Tazadaqyah. The case was overwhelming. The evidence was overwhelming. You can find a 31-page indictment that lists all the money that was spent, how it was spent, how they laundered the money through a fake entertainment company called Black Icon Entertainment, which they have no hits, they put out no records, they make no money. All the money is being laundered through the church or from the church through Black Icon Entertainment. But where's the money coming from? It's coming from the members. It was a year later almost when Tazadaqyah changed his plea from not guilty to guilty per his lawyer's advice. That's why he retained Gerald Lefcourt, and he said the best thing you could do is plead guilty, take a plea deal. He got the deal for Tazadaqyah to at least plead guilty to one of the charges, which all the charges that were on him was, I believe it was 6 charges. It was 5 counts of tax fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States. All those charges were a maximum of 5 years that you could get. The one that he pled guilty to was the conspiracy charge. This is how his attorney was able to fight it down to just one of the charges. They agreed on that. That was the understanding. When Tazadaqyah went to plead guilty, members of the Injustice League were there. Tazadaqyah was taken back. It really must have hurt his pride to have to go before these men that he used to take money from, that he used to scam, and plead guilty. So what was done was that he didn't want to plead guilty in front of them. But later on, they went back. I think it was the next day, Tazadaqyah and his lawyer went back and actually pled guilty. And that's when everything came out in the newspaper. Not too long after that, you got the Daily News posting his face all over New York City. Every newspaper stand, you saw Tazadaqyah's face. At this point, the story ain't over. Tazadaqyah did not get much time. January 28th, he was sentenced. He's got 30 to 60 days to surrender, where he will be confined to a federal prison, and he will become federal property for 18 months. And Tazadaqyah will be federal property for 12 months and 1 day. And that time must be served. After that, they will serve 3 years of supervised probation, because the government of the United States of America is not going to allow these guys to do what they've done in the past. And they're going to set up some type of system to where when they file their taxes, they're going to be able to verify. They're going to be on very close watch. So this is a good thing. Whenever a charlatan is off the streets, that's a win. There's going to have to be a lot of disclosure and transparency on the part of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, because they were never transparent, not even to their members. And I don't see what's the issue with being transparent and opening your books up to the members. It shows that you're hiding something, because if there was nothing to hide, then you would be transparent, instead of trying to accuse others of being evil and wicked just because they want to verify where their money is going. And what's wrong with verifying? Why do you let people trick you into believing that you just have to have faith without evidence and without results?
What about Jermaine?